All right, we are recording. Welcome to the Burn Along app. My name's Angel Falk. I'm the fitness angel, and you know me very well for fitness, but I'm also part of a wonderful nutrition company. And one of my partners is Dr. Doug Odom, and he is an OBGYN of 45 years, also director of an anti-aging clinic, and he specializes in helping us stay healthy for life, to live a long, abundant, healthy life. And we're going to talk about diet. We're going to answer some of your questions. So I have these questions here. Welcome, Dr. Odom. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Angel. It's a thrill being on this program with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we got some questions from some of our Burn Along viewers. And so one, we'll start with, are plant-based diets healthy?
Well, in my opinion, in a philosophical manner, plant-based diets are extremely healthy. I think you can take anything to an extreme. And plant-based diet, in my mind, doesn't mean you eat only plants. But if you do, then you're missing out on some nutrients that you wouldn't get otherwise. So what we try to do at my house is we try to do plant-based the majority of the time, meaning 80 to 90 to 95% of all calories that we consume every week, every day, are plant food derived. And so why plant food? What is it that's in plant food that is so critical for optimal health? And there are multiple answers there, multiple reasons, but plant food contain far and away the large majority of plant compounds called phytonutrients. In fact, that's 100%. But these are compounds that literally donate electrons to neutralize free radicals. Free radicals are oxygen compounds that we're all producing every day, and we produce more when we're stressed. We produce more when we're exercising, working out. We produce more when we're not sleeping enough. 8 hours is ideal. So all of these contribute to a state of what's called oxidative stress. Too many free radicals equals oxidative stress. So oxidative stress, along with chronic inflammation, they're not the same, but they're similar, are the common denominator for all chronic diseases. So a plant-based diet provides these electron donors, i.e. phytonutrients, plant compounds that are donating electrons to neutralize these free radicals that are missing an electron. So that's one reason why plant-based diets are extremely healthy. Another is we are meta beings, super beings, and it's not just human cells, but we're hosting bacteria, and we're hosting trillions of bacteria. We have 10 plus trillion cells, and we have over 100 trillion bacteria that reside primarily in our digestive system. Most of those are in our large intestine called our colon. So gut health, we're finding now, is so critically important for overall health. And there are so many areas of health that we're just realizing the supreme role that the intestinal bacterial balance plays in a healthy human. So we have bacteria that belong to two groups. One is beneficial and one is non-beneficial, and that's over 90% of these 100 trillion bacteria. The beneficial belong under an umbrella of Bacteroides, and the non-beneficial belong to a group called Firmicutes. And it's this ratio or this balance between these beneficial and non-beneficial, this yin and yang that's going on 24/7, that literally determine the state of our health. And we never realized this until the last 15 to 20 years, or maybe even the last decade. But you've heard and read so much, and I have too, in the last 10, 15, 20 years about your gut health is the seed of all of your focus for optimal health. So how can we how can we feed the good bacteria? What we're finding is that the good bacteria thrive on prebiotic fiber, soluble and insoluble. And these non-beneficial, or some people call them bad, they're really not bad, it's just the balance, but these non-beneficial bacteria thrive on a diet that's full of processed food, gluten, dairy, sugar, and sugar substitutes or artificial sugars. So that's what we've been eating primarily for our calories in this country for my lifetime, over 70 years. And it's catching up with us, and we don't have nearly the health that we could. We're in fact introducing more and more and more diseases we didn't have 30, 50, 70 years ago. And a lot of these fall under that category of autoimmune. And what does that mean? It means that our own bodily defense mechanism, our immune system, is on high alert, super alert, and it is so alert and so hypersensitive, super sensitive, that it's actually attacked our own cells. And that's the essence of autoimmune. And there are certain areas of the body that are much more prone to these attacks by our own immune cells. And one is the thyroid, and another specifically is the brain. So we're having an awful lot of autoimmune diseases that are affecting our nervous system and our moods. And these include depression and anxiety, very, very common in this country, and many, many others like multiple sclerosis, ALS, even dementia and Alzheimer's. These are directly affected by the connection between the gut and the brain, and the gut and the immune system. And so there's a balance. There's a very happy balance. And what we're finding is that the bacteria play such a role that if we have the bacteria balance that is favoring the beneficial bacteria by eating plant food, plant-based foods, especially fiber and phytonutrients, well, then we're more in balance, and these conditions are not nearly as prevalent. So is a plant-based diet, is it beneficial? Absolutely. We also know that that we have 23,000 genes that are comprised in 46 chromosomes, and the Human Genome Project completed in the early 2000s, I think in 2003 or 2004. It was over a decade long international research project to identify, and not just identify, but to sequence all of the genes in the human body. And so when that completed, it really started a whole new revolution of genetic activation or uploading or upgrading, upregulating, or turning genes on and turning genes off. And we know now that one of the most powerful sources that turn these genes on and off are the foods that we eat. And there's a whole area of growing interest called nutrigenomics, how the foods that we eat, the good ones and the bad ones, can turn these genes on and turn them off. And so we are just blessed to be in a place where we're learning more and more and more about our human body and how it functions, and more importantly, how it's affected by our food choices. And for years, we've just been living by default and eating calories and not really focusing on nutrition and what nutrition can do for us. And now we know that we should be eating, you ask about a plant-based diet, what we should be eating. This is a recommendation by all of the experts, and it's by one visual, and I don't know if you can see this, but this is what it used to be, the food guide pyramid. Today it's myplate.gov. And so half the plate should be fruits and vegetables over here on this side. They say at least a fourth of the plate should be whole grains, and a fourth of the plate should be protein, and half of that protein should be plant protein. So if you look at that, that's 2/8, 2/8, 2/8, and 1/8. 7/8 of the plate every meal every day should be plant food. So is is a plant-based diet a healthy diet? It is the healthy diet. It is what is recommended by all of the experts and supported by governmental agencies as well. So,
Right. That was a great explanation. And one of the questions was, what does a healthy plate look like? You just showed us 7/8 should be plants in all colors too, a variety, and the consistency of doing that every day, I think, is the challenge. But I know a lot of people say they want a plant rich diet, and I like that term as well,
I
because
do too.
plant based, like you said, if you're 80, 90%, that's a great thing. So you don't have to be 100% vegan. Um, and it's plant rich diet. So add more plants. It's a simple solution to your health.
Most people, I'm sorry to interrupt you, most people in this country turn those numbers completely around. 85% do not eat plant food at every meal every day. And that's one of the reasons why we have such poor health in this country. And when compared to all the westernized uh, countries, the United States, of the 40 top countries, when they evaluate overall health parameters, we're at the very bottom. We're 38th, 39th, or 40th.
Right.
And it's because we eat way too many of these other foods I just mentioned that promote inflammation, and especially processed food.
Yep. I see it because 1 in 3 children are obese right now. And we're living on processed food and sugar and cookies and cakes and sugary drinks. So I see exactly what you're saying. So the good food, the good plant foods, all plant foods, are feeding our healthy bacteria, and that is what's going to give us optimal health, a good immune system, reduce inflammation, and help us have more energy, feel better, look better. It's just all the way around a great thing to add more plant foods. So one of the other questions were carbs. People are so concerned about carbs. We know we need carbs, but what is the difference between a simple carb and a complex carb? Which are the good carbs? What should we be eating? Which should we be avoiding?
Well, that's a great question. And I don't know, you're probably not old enough to know who Robert Atkins is, but he wrote a book years ago, The Atkins Diet, where he recommended or suggested strongly that people give up carbs or certainly limit carbs. And that's a macronutrient. The other two primary macronutrients are fats and proteins. So he encouraged people to consume more foods that were fat and protein and fewer or even eliminate carbs. But we should never eliminate all carbs. And as you said, there is a huge difference in a simple carb and a complex carb. And basically, a simple carb is one that turns into sugar very quickly, and a complex carb turns into sugar, which is what we burn in the mitochondria for energy, called the ATP. That's the unit that most Americans use for energy production. But a complex carb just breaks down much slower. And the reason is because fiber. A simple carb has virtually no fiber, and a complex carb does have fiber. And the more fiber, I feel, and most experts feel, that fiber is the missing ingredient in the American diet. The more fiber, the more good bacteria, the more beneficial bacteria that we're feeding. The more fiber, the lower your sugar and insulin resistance and likelihood for diabetes. So we should be eating low glycemic foods, and those typically are the foods that have plant foods that have fiber associated. So I've now, the difference. So the complex carbs are typically your colorful foods, because these complex carbs, uh, there are thousands and thousands of these plant chemicals called phytonutrients, and a lot of them give your foods the color, the smell, the taste. And so these foods are identified by this array of all of these phytonutrients. But again, the magic ingredient is fiber. So the more fiber, uh, the more complex the carb, and the more fiber, the slower that this turns into or breaks down into sugar. Not to mention, it's also feeding your beneficial bacteria.
Right, right. So we need to eat the rainbow every single day, and the brighter the color, the better, and the more variety, the better.
Well, beige and brown and white are typically what we eat, but they're not typically associated with as many of these uh, phytonutrients, and certainly not with more fiber.
Mhm.
So, but really, it's variety. Variety is very important, so that we don't eat the same foods every other day or every week. Even it's great to introduce new foods all the time, because all of them have benefit, and the body takes them and uses all of them.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and again, there are thousands of these compounds that are so critically important for overall health.
Right. I like the word phytonutrients because I think of food as fighting for us.
Yeah,
We
well,
do our kickboxing, we're fighting. So when we're eating those phytonutrients, we're fighting cancer, we're fighting diabetes, we're fighting heart disease, we're fighting obesity, we're fighting dementia, we're fighting Alzheimer's, all of those things. And every cell in our body is improved when we add the phytonutrients.
well, the phyto really means plants.
Right.
So it's PHYTO,
I'm doing a
phyto.
little play on words there
Oh, I
for
know
my
that.
fitness friends.
Sure, I know that. So, but phytonutrients, phyto plant nutrients, are literally where we get the majority of the nutrients. And so, where do we get the energy that we find in plants? It comes from the sun. The sun affects plants. They make chlorophyll. They change this energy from the sun into energy that we can consume, and then our bodies can break down and use. And even if we eat, and there's nothing wrong with animal anything, except we eat far too much of it, in my opinion. It's on this plate, it's way too much animal and not nearly enough plants. So again, it's the balance. But if we eat even the animals, it's what has the animal eaten, what is on the animal's diet. And so if it's a grass fed something or another, or if it's a yard bird, if it's uh, free range and etc., and not just eating uh, some factory formula that's the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. You're not getting a whole lot of nutrition. It's calories, and that seems to be what everybody in this country is so concerned about, is calories. And calories are important, but we need nutrition along with calories. So calories are to weight, what nutrition is to health. So it's
Yes,
not just how much you weigh, but it's how healthy are you. So
right.
the more healthy food that we can consume, at least 80% every day, every meal, then that will improve your overall health. So that's my opinion.
I love that. And I love that plant foods are usually low calorie anyway. And you might need more of them. You might need to eat more often when you're just eating a plant-based diet. And I know people who are in our detox group focus on eating more plants, and they find they're more nutrient dense, so they feel better, they have more energy, they are more regular going to the bathroom because they're getting more fiber in their diet, and they're having less calories, so they typically lose weight, get leaner, and get more results for the way they look and feel.
And they're feeding the right bacteria.
Yes.
That's the huge difference, because bacteria affect whether you gain weight or you can't lose weight, because you might be struggling with losing. And what we're finding is that if you fix that bacterial balance, well, then you lose weight much more readily. But if your bacterial balance favors the Firmicutes, the non-beneficial, you will struggle to lose weight.
That is just, that's science.
It
That
is.
is
It is.
new
It is.
science. So
Yeah.
that's a very
Yeah.
good explanation. If you want to lose weight, if you're stuck at a plateau, look at your bacterial balance. That could be huge. And you know it by what you're eating. And you can get tests done. There's testing that can be done. So thank you so much for answering these questions.
Sure.
And
My pleasure. My pleasure.
yes, absolutely. So we'll do more. And if you are on the Burn Along app and you have more questions, want to know more, reach out to me. I'd love to connect on Instagram. I'm the Fitness Angel, and we can always chat there as well. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Odom.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Angel. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. Thank you.
You too.